Hello. I know it's looking dark at the moment. Don't worry, it's coming. Hello. Nearly. Hello. There's that bit. Hi, everyone. Let's build a Terracotta Army. Hopefully, I'm all coming through okay. Now, with the lag, it might still be showing you the bit where the screen was all dark. No multicam, sadly. He might join us halfway through. Who knows? So, I am playing the solo mode today of Terracotta Army, new from Board&Dice, or at least recent from Board&Dice. Yes, we're going to be building a great big terracotta army out of clay, hidden in this lovely contraption. Is the terracotta army full of plastic minis and stuff that are going to be built in this mausoleum at some point. Well, quite soon actually. So in the solo game, we are playing against the Prime Minister, Lee Si, who is dissatisfied with the laggard pace at which the mausoleum is being constructed. He's decided he will oversee the work himself and will honour the Emperor. You must prove you can do better, or will face eternal shame. So this solo mode is available online. It doesn't come in the game, you just get the normal rulebook. So the solo rulebook is online. You need to print a couple of pages. I haven't done that. We'll get them up. There's one of the pages. Hey, the magic of technology. We can get it up here. There's plenty of steps to things, but hopefully we'll get through it okay. Before we get started, you can support the channel in different ways, in Patreon and Ko-fi. They're linked in the description. Your support will be massively appreciated and is the reason I'm able to be doing all of these things. Thanks everyone for doing all of the stuff as well. Hey Steve, coming through okay? Hey Shiffy, hey Frederick. Right, so the Prime Minister starts us off. We start off in quite a similar situation, actually. Prime Minister's always going to go first. Starts out with one of his masters on the board, which we wouldn't normally. But other than that, starts with same number of workers. We're always going to have that number of workers. We might upgrade them to artisans. But his weapons are in a random order because that determines his priority for things. I am second player, so I start off with a wet clay. There's two states of clay, one of the big resources in this game. We're building a terracotta army out of clay. You're going to need a lot of clay. There is wet and there is dry. Dry clay is still clay, but you can't really use it for much. It needs to be wet if you want to make stuff out of it. And you can see, I don't know if you can really see the horses yet in this little angle here. As we build up the mausoleum, hey, I've got camera 2 showing you the majesty of some of the minis, because yeah, bird's eye, not necessarily great for that kind of stuff. Hey Michael, hey Ra, how's it going? Right, so yes, the Prime Minister begins every round. So this is a worker placement game with a really interesting action selection thing. So you are going to be placing a worker on one of the outer sections of this wheel. At the start of the game, we've only got these craftsmen. They can be upgraded later into artisans. So if there's already a craftsman in a space, if you've got an artisan, you can still go there with your artisan later on. If you've only got craftsmen, that's blocked off for you. If in a future round you've already got an artisan and you put them in a space, nobody can go in that space in future. Now, the outer ring is printed on the board. That's not going to move. So if you go in this section, you get in that outer action. But this wheel can turn. When you choose a section, you can pay 2 coins to rotate one of the wheels, the inner or the middle wheel, according to the arrows on it. You can move it one space for 2 coins. You can only choose one of the wheels to turn as well. You can't do them both. You can't pay to turn it multiple times in one go. So you can alter the 3 actions you're going to be doing. And they are always done in this order as well, starting from the middle, working outwards. And so you can plan out what you want to do. And are you going to have the resources? Oh, well, I need clay for this, but I can get clay first and then I can build the thing and that kind of stuff. You can ignore the actions you might get from the first 2 sections and take a wet clay or a coin instead, but you can't do that with the outer actions. We don't have to worry too much at the start because the Prime Minister is going to start, the AI player. Hey Joel, how's it going? So in the action phase, we need to roll 2 dice. You need to provide 2 dice, basically, to be able to play the solo mode. We're using some Fighting Fantasy dice. You roll 2 dice, and the lower number determines how many spaces the Overseer is going to move. This is basically a turn order marker of... that's my turn order marker. Where's his? His is still on the board. It starts out in a particular position, and it moves 1, 2, 3 spaces, because that's the lower number that we rolled. If possible, he skips over any spaces that are occupied later on that he couldn't place a worker in. So if he's already been there, or if I've got an artisan there, he'll skip over those spaces and not count them. But at the start, it's all available. So he goes here, and he's going to place one of his available workers if that's possible. He's only got craftsmen available at the moment, so that's what he's going to place in there. And this is how these decrees are going to start working. A lot of situations when he can't do particular actions, he's going to roll dice and get a decree instead. If he couldn't have placed a worker in this position, he would have rolled for a decree and then moved one section along. The decrees, we roll 2 dice and pick one of these decrees here, check it off. This can happen in the middle of his turn as well, but they only get resolved kind of around this point at the start of his turn. It's going to adjust the wheel. See, some of the sections on that decree board are going to rotate bits of the wheel, and they're going to give him extra things. They're going to give him extra actions or let him build extra warriors and stuff in the mausoleum. So hopefully he doesn't get to do that too much. So yes, he can put a worker there, so we don't have to roll for a decree or anything like that. So we then resolve all 3 actions as if we were taking those actions, but obviously he gets to change what those actions are sometimes. If it's just getting things, if it's just getting coins and clay, obviously he doesn't change that. But starting off, we see he's picked this section, so he is going to build a warrior. You would choose which warrior you want to build. He's got some criteria that says where he wants to build them. But the most important thing to read here is you need 3 clay to build a warrior. He has no clay because he is the first player. If he doesn't have enough clay to spend, you need to roll for a decree. The decree actions will happen after we've resolved all 3 of his things. So his bonuses and stuff will build up through the actions that he can't take or the spaces that he wasn't allowed to place on. So if I get the decrees up, hopefully we should be able to mark these off. Let's roll for a decree first and see what he's going to get to mark off. So he has rolled 7. I was wondering what the logo was then. It must be the one. So he's rolled a 7. And if this works, we can check off decree 7. So that is going to take effect after he's had all of his actions. If he's got enough clay, he's going to make a warrior with just a single clay. So next up on the wheel, he is going to take a master action. So this is the master blacksmith. He got a random one of his masters at a master action at the start of setup, and it doesn't happen to be the master blacksmith. If he hasn't got a master token on here, usually when you take these actions, you have the opportunity. Or if you don't have one already, now you can pay to put a master here, and then you can do the action. The Prime Minister, the AI bot, works a bit differently. He does not place these master tokens in the action phase. If he resolves a master action where he hasn't got a master token, like he's doing right now, he does a spare action instead. The spare action is the same as our choice. He can take a clay or a coin. So what changes his thinking? He also gets 2 points when he does it. Remember that. So he gets 2 points, which we don't. So is the current round's scoring token, this is random for the 5 rounds of the game, does the current round's scoring token, is it going to judge us on who's got the most clay or coins? Yes, it's going to judge us based on who's got the most coins. So he takes a coin. Just looking over where I've put the enormous bowl of coins. It's right in front of my face, of course. So we've done that. And then finally, he is going to come onto the outside action here, build a specialist. So these are the specialists out here. We've got the horses, the musicians, the kneeling Arrowman, it's not the entertainer, the footman. So you look at the right to left order of his available weapons. At the start of the game, nobody's got any weapons available. Actions will make those available. Ironically, if he'd have started with a worker here, he would have got to activate all of his weapons, which would have been better for him. So he's got no weapons available. The coin cost is fine. At the start of the game, the first specialist of any type only costs you 1 coin. So he's got 4 coins, but he's got no active weapons. If he can't do anything with this, he gains a coin, which is an exception to us, because if we ignore these outer actions, we get nothing. You're just going to have to skip it. Right, so that was all of his actions. At this point, there might be 1 or more rows on the decree chart marked off. Yes, number 7 is marked off. Where is it? There we go. Look at this virtual insanity. So, does row 7 have an icon telling us to adjust the wheel in any way? No. So we don't have to do anything to the wheel. Then we resolve the actions of all marked decrees in the same way in top to bottom order. So we can see that the only action that he's got marked off is he is going to build a warrior for 1 clay. He hasn't got enough clay, so he resolves a spare action instead. As we saw earlier, the spare action he's going to choose this round is going to look at who's got the most money, so he's going to take a money with that spare action. So it's looking like he's going to get the most here. The scoring markers, by the way, have got 2 different scoring criteria. If you participate in that scoring, so as long as you have got a money, you will get 2 points. If you have got the most money, if you dominate the category, if you are the single player with the most money, you will get 5 points instead. So it's likely he'll get that. Later on, we want to build in the bottom right quadrant of the mausoleum, the central column of the mausoleum, and we want to have the majority of particular types of warriors that we can put out. That's what's come out randomly this game. So he's done a spare action again. He's done all of that. Then we remove all the markers from the decree chart for next time, and it's time to get on with my turn. So I'm going to place a worker in the same way, and we can look on the wheel basically as to what I want to do, because I've got a single clay. So that's not going to get me a warrior straight away. Oh, should there be an extra bit of setup I haven't done? Oh yeah, see. The first horse and the musician. There we go. Luckily, he didn't want to build one. Thank you. Before I started building one. I wouldn't build one with my first action. I don't think. Right, so I'm tempted by getting a load of money. Getting a load of clay is also very attractive, but if we don't move that wheel, it's going to be get 6 clay and a weapon activated, which isn't going to be a terrible thing. It's good to have those weapons activated. You get bonuses or you get access to build those specialists. Because we could just get a load of clay and then be doing other actions that build out warriors for cheap. It would be nice to get a load of money also, because, I mean, that's the aim of the game this round. A load of stuff is going to cost us money, so having resources will be nice. This action wets your clay, so all of your dry clay becomes wet. We haven't got any dry clay at the moment, so that's going to be less attractive. I don't particularly want to spend money to adjust the wheel yet. I would like to get kind of master builder actions activated. Like to just get a load of clay instead. Where's the clay specialist? Is here. Yeah, unfortunately, he's right next to get a warrior out. Because it's good to get your masters out onto here. If they're out onto the rightmost 3 masters, at the end of the round, all of your clay dries out. For every master you've got out here, you can keep a clay wet. And these masters will earn you a money at the end of every round as well. So it would be good to do that. Maybe good to do it, though, after we've earned a load of clay. We just get that, have a really simple turn. That's how you upgrade your craftsmen to artisans. So they're the big meeples that can go in occupied spaces sometimes, depending on who they're occupied by. Yeah, maybe we should just do a really simple thing and just get a load of clay. We've got 5 actions. Yeah, let's make the first action fairly simple. So I get 4 wet clay, I get 2 wet clay, and I'm going to activate my spear. So we turn that to its active side. I've done my setup a little bit low, haven't I? There we go. And then I need 6 wet clay, so I've got 7 altogether. Hopefully, we should be able to get some good warriors built this round. So there we go. I've done my thing. I've done my actions top to bottom. So it's time for the Prime Minister again. Make sure I get all of his actions right again. So his Overseer is in the space that he took his actions before. We roll the dice. The lower number tells us how many space he's going to move. 1, 2, 3. Can he place a worker there? Yes. So he is going to resolve his actions into out. So he is just going to upgrade his assistant that he placed on the action. It turns into an artisan for next time. So you've always got the same number of workers, so that's not going to change. He didn't have an artisan, so it's okay, he can do that. Then he has got a master, so it's going to be this master. He has not got a master token on this master's section yet, so instead he does a spare action, doesn't he? Yeah, spare action, as we know. This round wants coins, so he's going to take a coin. Yikes, he's got a lot of them. And then his outer action, he is going to go for specialist again. He hasn't activated any of his weapons still. So he is going to... He gets a coin, doesn't he? So yeah, he's probably getting that. And he's going to be able to do stuff with money later, isn't he? He does get, by the way, it looks like he's getting nothing done. When we get to the end of the round and we have scoring, which I'll get into, he can spend, if he's got 6 or more clay, he can spend 5 of it to build a warrior. And then if he's still got 6 after that, he can build a second one. If he's got 8 or more coins, he discards 5 of them to build a warrior. And then if he's still got 8 or more, he can build a second one. So he can build up to 4 surprise builds, they're called, at the very end of the round, which, of course, we can't do. So it's time for me to pick something again. So I've got all of these pieces of wet clay now around, so I'd probably like to choose something that lets me build a warrior. Now, an action that normally changes, this priority action here, this is how we adjust turn order in the standard game. In the solo game, that just becomes a gain 2 points action, because the Prime Ministers always go in first. Now, I think it might be an idea to just build a warrior. Build a chief warrior here, just for 2 clay. And then we can activate a master. And then we could build a specialist if we wanted to. Yeah, let's go for it. Pop my worker out here. So the first action, for 2 wet clay, and we've seen that I've got plenty, I can build a warrior. Which warriors can you build? These warriors. We have warriors holding different weapons. You got like the spear, the crossbow, the halberd, and the sword. They do different things. So this is very good if you're playing the game. Not so good if you're filming it from a top-down point of view, which, let's face it, you're unlikely to be doing. It's got a player aid on all of the sides of it, reminding you what the bonuses of building those types of warriors are. But we'll get into it. So the type I want to build, later on, we're going to consider Spearman for the final majority scoring of the game at the end of the 5th round. And my spear is active now, so I could deactivate it to get the bonus of it. That's something to be thinking about. My last action, though, is to build a specialist. You can only build a specialist if you've got that activated weapon. So I don't think I'm going to activate whatever I build. I want to make sure it's in this quadrant, which is a bit of a shame because people are going to be looking over in this quadrant. We can get one of the inspectors scoring. It'll be okay. yeah, let's build for scoring later. They all cost the same amount. This determined the cost of the action. But there is a points value. They're worth more points the sooner you build them. So building the swordsman here is worth 8 points to me. I'll decide where I'm popping it. I think, yeah, I'll put it in this quadrant, but I'll put it right at the... I'll put it right at the bottom here, because you would like to have majority in the row and column that's going to be judged by those inspectors. You've got little squares to pop them in to say who owns what. Oh, and I've got the camera set up entirely for this purpose. Hey, you can see him hanging out in the mausoleum there. So at this point, I would now have the opportunity to flip over my sword weapon to make it inactive. To perform the special action, I'd get a point and I can move inspectors. Can't afford to do that. I haven't got the weapon active. So I've built the warrior. I haven't had the points yet. It's going to be 8 points. Actually, oh yeah, I should get an extra 2 points for doing another. He did a second spare action, didn't he? Who's beeping outside? There's Terracotta Army going on in here. Okay, so I've done my first action, build that warrior. Then the master over here. This is going to let me build warriors for money. If you take me to the right place. So I haven't got a master token in here yet. I'm going to have to put one in. I can choose not to. I could just take the wet clay or the coin for the action if I wanted. But no, I'm going to get my master token in there. Their costs are on them. So you probably want to build them in ascending order. It costs me a coin to pop him in here. And the action is you pay money equal to the round number to build another warrior. But the catch is you do not get to activate the special ability. You do not get the points for building that warrior. So I think I'm not going to activate anything at the moment. Let's take an 8 points away. Oh, and we could have majority in the spear kind that I'd like to build later on. No, we'll just pop that out. I think we'll have this in the central area because that is the third round scoring. Maybe that's going to help us. It's a cool little box because it's how you can store them when you're not playing as well. It's a nice little reveal too when they come out. So I don't get the points or bonus for that because I'm doing it from this master action here. I'll also earn a money at the end of every round now. And then finally, the last thing is I can build a specialist. So I'd kind of better do it because otherwise I'm getting nothing. But the only weapon I've got activated is the spear, so I could only build a musician. Now, because of the setup thing, this does cost me 2 money. That's all of my money. And I've got to deactivate my spear, but I can put a musician out. And the musician is going to give extra points to warriors in the same row or column as them. So I've earned myself a couple of extra points there. And it's... Is it just for the... Yeah, it's every scoring phase as well. So that might come back to bite me if the Prime Minister decides to put his warriors in there as well. But there we go. We have got 3 things out in the mausoleum now. Remember, you've got the lovely camera. You can show the things off, kind of, in a way. Right, so I think that's my action done. Got a few more things done than before. So it is time for the Prime Minister. Has rolled a 1. So just pop 1 over. Can place a worker there, so will. And let's look at the actions that are available. Spend 3 wet clay to build a warrior. Still has not got a wet clay. So we'll roll for a decree, won't they? So the number that they're rolling is 5. And so I'll mark off number 5 on the old decrees there. They're going to flip a weapon up and they're going to move the wheel a little bit. Then next up, they get 2 wet clay. So they just get the wet clay. And then finally, they're going to activate their halberd. Is that right? Am I saying that right? So they've activated a weapon. There we go. Oh, and don't forget, the end of their turn. Are there any decrees all the way up here? Yes. The middle wheel is going to rotate one space. And then they're going to flip up their spear. And then that's all of the decrees taken care of. So I think that's that. When the bot takes a priority action, of course, they don't just get 2 points. They roll for a decree and take a spare action. Okay then, so still got a lot of wet clay. Got no money though. So this action now gets me some money before going to a master. Where I'd be able to I'd get 3 more clay though. I might put myself in a situation where I've just got too much and I can't spend it. Over here, build a warrior, get 2 coins, build a specialist. I can't build a specialist right now. I've got no active weapons. I can't adjust the wheel because I've spent all of my money. Oh yeah, he's adjusted it in an annoying way, I think. Because I could have gotten like 3 coins and then a specialist and then activate a weapon. Maybe we'll just have to do the expensive build. 4 clay for a warrior, then get 2 clay, then activate your crossbow. So I won't get to do the special ability, even if I built a crossbow person, which is pretty cool actually. You put the crossbow warrior down, and then if you flip over your weapon to activate their scoring bonus, you get a point for every empty space between the crossbow and you just put down and the next piece. But I haven't got any active weapons at the moment. I think that's the best thing at the moment. I'm not going to get any money from doing that, am I? But at least I get to do the full range of stuff. I'm not paying. One of the clay that I paid last time should have gone to this warehouse here. One of the clay you pay goes dry and gets put in this warehouse, and there's ways that you can get them later. Here. You can ignore actions, of course, and I could just get a money from it from ignoring the middle one. But I think it's okay. We'll get some clay back, won't we? I've still got 2 more actions. So build a warrior for 4 clay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 goes onto this warehouse dry. And who are we going to build? The crossbow or the halberd are worth the most points, but we do want majorities of these later on. Yeah, I'm going to go for... This one's worth 13 points. I'm going to go for sword right now. I would like someone kind of over here for when the inspectors move later. And even if he doesn't move now, he'll score. He's in the same row as this musician. I know it's not as good for round 2 and stuff, because I've only got 1 person in that quadrant, technically. Yeah, I think that's where I'd like him, because the inspector is going to judge the row or column that they're in. 3 points if you are participating, if you've got someone in that row or column. 7 points, though, if you dominate. At the moment, well, he's going to get to build warriors. He's got loads and loads of coins. But we'll see how it goes. So I've placed my worker. I've spent a lot of my clay, but I'm getting 2 more back now. And then activate my crossbow weapon token. Project, I don't make the trip to West. Not this year, no. Not for a while now. Maybe in the future. Right. So the Prime Minister rolls the dice, It's got 5 and a 1 again, so just going to move 1 space, and is going to build a warrior for 3 clay. Has not got 3 clay, so does a decree instead. They roll a 9. So later on, they're going to try and build one for 3. See how that goes for them. Then, oh, they haven't popped their worker down. Then they're going to try and activate this master. They have not gone there yet, so they do a spare action, don't they? Yeah, they do a spare action instead. The spare action is going to get them a coin and 2 points. Oh, I should have got a 7 point, shouldn't I, for building that second warrior? Couldn't activate the ability because I didn't have the weapon. Well, make sure you get your points. And then finally going to activate their halberd, but it's already activated. So flip the leftmost not flipped weapon instead. There we go. They get their crossbow, and they've got most of them available now. Okay, the wheel hasn't changed. I've still got no money. But I have got a weapon available. If I wanted to like put a specialist out, we could come here, get 3 coins, go to a new master that would get us clay. We just have to worry about all that drying out if we couldn't spend it with our last action. And then get a specialist. Over here's blocked off, unfortunately, and again, got no money to adjust that. I have got 3 clay, though. We could do build a warrior for 3 clay, then get a couple of coins, and then do a specialist. But I would like to... I'm missing out on all of these bonuses by not activating the weapons when I build the warriors. Now I've got one available. Yeah, I like... What do I like? I think I like the first option a bit more. Let's get 3 coins, give some flexibility, and we want at least 1 coin, don't we? So we can at least get a couple of points from this majority. We won't get any points, we've got no coins. But then we've got to spend 2 of them if we want this master to activate, so we can put our token down there. And then I get 3 clay, and at least 1 of my clay will stay wet at the end of the round now, instead of it all going dry. And then finally I can do a specialist. So the only specialist I could do, it would be my coin spent again, though, would be the kneeling crossbowman, who is great for breaking ties. I don't want to waste an opportunity to do something, although sometimes you want to waste an opportunity to do something, so that you're hanging onto some resources to give you future options. I think having someone as a tiebreaker isn't going to be a bad thing. I'm going to put... So this goes down. I'm going to have to flip my crossbow and pay my coin, because it's the first one built. And then you put this down. This is the only one where the orientation matters. The piece that this crossbowman is facing, it counts as a group, which will be important later. You want to group up like warriors, which I know I haven't done yet, but it's early days. So it makes them a group, because standing alone, they're not normally a group. But it also breaks ties for a lot of things. Like, if the bot now builds 1 in this row, I will still dominate because of my crossbowman tiebreaker. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay, I think he's now finally going to encounter me and have to skip over some spaces. So he's rolled a 4 and a 2. So it's going to be 2. Skips over all of these because he hasn't got an artisan. 1, 2. Just skip over all of mine, doesn't he? skips over places. He has a craftsman or an artisan present. Oh no, he doesn't skip over where I've just got craftsman. 1, 2. So, has he got an artisan he can place there? Because I've already got someone there. No. So, my craftsman's already present and he doesn't have an artisan. So he's going to get a decree. This should be cleared from last time. He's going to roll the dice. He gets 7. So that's going to activate later. And then he moves to the next space clockwise where he can place a craftsman. Here. So he doesn't just get to chain it, fortunately. So his last action is going to be here. And what's he going to get to do? Build a warrior for 2 clay. He's got 2 clay. So he can do that. Here's where things get a bit interesting, just where he's going to decide to do this. So not build a specialist, doing his warriors. So selecting a warrior type first. He wants to build a type he has an available weapon for. So that's everyone but the swordsman. Ignore this if there's a type he hasn't got a weapon for, but it's worth 3 more points than any other type. No, don't worry about that. So amongst the possible types, he's going to choose the one with the most points. So that's going to be these 2. If he's still tied, he builds whichever type is to be scored by a scoring tile sooner. So neither of these are going to be scored by a scoring tile. If still tied, he builds whichever type corresponds to a more wanted weapon that he has. So I think that's like leftmost. So that's going to be the crossbowman. So he's going to build the crossbowman, put one of his base pieces on. Hey Mickey, thanks for subscribing. So we put that on the board. He scores the points regardless. He even scores it if he was doing this action. So he gets the full 8 points. Then, where he puts the thing. Find a group or a lone warrior of the matching warrior type. There is not a crossbowman out there at the moment. Because he wants to join things and then dominate them. He's got no option, so he'll place a new lone warrior. Select a space amongst all spaces not adjacent to warriors of the same type. Okay, that's all of them. Oh yeah, dry clay in the warehouse, thanks. He's down in this warehouse. So there is not a single option of all spaces not adjacent to anything. There's a million options. If multiple were found, exclude all but the largest groups. There's no groups. Then select a space amongst all spaces to either of the remaining groups using the below steps. Narrow the selection of possible spaces until exactly 1 space is found. This is where we start using this picture. So determine the priority of each space using this chart and the current relative positions of the 2 inspectors. So the highest priority space is where the 2 inspectors are. So he's going to go in there, which is lucky, actually, that I don't have to think anymore. In rounds 1 or... Oh no, he's still going. In rounds 1 to 2, narrow the selection to the spaces with priority 1 to 3. So the space in the intersection of the inspector has the highest priority, then the space orthogonally forward of it. Okay. So this would be priority 1. This would be priority 2. These would be priority 3. I think I would be okay in saying. So they're the possible spaces he might put things. Then narrow the selection to spaces satisfying the remaining scoring tiles. Well, the remaining scoring tiles are going to be most money, not affected. This quadrant, which those spaces aren't affected. Middle, not doesn't matter. And then it's types, so that can't narrow it down. Then narrow the selection to the highest priority possible. So he's just going to go here, basically. He's going to go where it satisfies the inspectors the most. Let's have him facing you. And there we go. There's a little face-off in there. Yeah, we don't need to narrow it anymore. We have narrowed it down enough. When building with the Build a Warrior action, if the corresponding weapon token is available, which it should be, yes, he moves the corresponding weapon to the front of his weapon token row, flips it to unavailable, and then it's the bow, so he scores 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And doesn't do the normal actions and things, because he isn't making choices in the same way. Oh, thanks, Frederick. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, that was just his first action, wasn't it? Okay, he did that. Now he's going to a master where he has finally got one of his master tokens, so he's going to get to do it. It is the Master Craftsman. He takes all the clay from the largest warehouse stack. That's this one. And he takes it as wet. And then he discards everything in the now largest stack, which is this one that's got 2 dry clay in it. Normally you would get as dry clay all from 2 warehouses, so he gets it as wet clay. So he's done that. And then finally, he is going to build a specialist. Oh dear, he's going to be able to do it, isn't he? So build a specialist. When resolving this action in right to left order of available weapons, determine if he is willing to place the corresponding specialist. So starting with the halberd, is he willing to place a footman? He's willing to place a footman if there is such a space where the difference between the number of surrounding warriors belonging to him and you is greater than the number of empty surrounding spaces. Footman will score at the end of the game based on who is dominating the area around them. So you get 2 points just for having someone next to them, in the 9 squares around them, 8 squares around them. You get 2 points just for having a piece there, but you get 8 points if you're dominating, if you've got the most pieces around this footman. He's not going to place that because obviously there's too much scope for me to get around that piece. There's the only place he would only put it next to somewhere he's got a warrior, and I could still place a load of stuff around there. So he's not going to do that. Next along, it is the spear, which corresponds to the musician. He is willing to place a musician if there is such a space where the difference in victory points the musician would score him is twice as much or more than the points it would score you. So, no, basically. He could put it somewhere that would score us both some points. He would put it here and it would score us just as many points. So he is not willing to build that specialist either. The Prime Minister is never willing to place horses. If no specialist can be placed, no weapons available or no coins available, he gains a coin instead. Well, I'd say a specialist can be placed, but he isn't willing to place any of them. He's got 2 that he could place and he's not willing, so he gets a coin instead, I think. That's acting as if he can't place one, but he's just refusing to. Stubborn. Okay. My last action then. So I've got a lot of clay that is going to dry out if it's not spent. The most I can spend is 4 though with an action, so some of it's drying out. Okay, available spaces where I could build a warrior. We are narrowing it right down to here. Because I've got no coins to move the wheel about. I'd be able to build a warrior, get 2 coins, and then I wouldn't be able to build a specialist because I don't have an active weapon. But the alternatives are wet all of your dry clay. I haven't got any dry clay. Get 2 points, activate a weapon. I think getting a warrior out will be better. Now, this can all dry out. I still get it, and I could just do that action later. It's not essential. And the other available one, wet all your dry clay, get 2 coins, activate a weapon. It's just a shame that you don't get any compensation for not doing the outer action. Whereas I could get a clay or a coin for not doing this action. So I could get 3 coins and activate either my sword, my bow, or I could get a coin, 2 points, and activate my sword, ready for a future round. Or we can just get pieces out. So at the moment, nobody's dominating this column for the inspector, so we would both just get the 3 points. If I can put someone else in this column, though, I will dominate, and I'll get 7 to his 3. And the points for putting them out. It's just that doesn't necessarily help for later on in the game. Let's build a warrior, let's do it. Build a warrior, so it costs 3 clay. 1 goes on this warehouse. And should we build a different type, Because the points are going down a bit? No, let's build a spearman, because they're still worth 7 points. Get me one of these. Oh, I think I might have skipped the Prime Minister's decree things. He was going to... How's he got that 3 clay? Oh, he got it from the warehouse, didn't he? Yeah, after he'd done his actions. Go back. His decree said, and this happens at the end of his turn, he needs to spend 1 clay to build a warrior again. So what was his great big flowchart? I'm still going to do whatever I was going to do. I'm not deciding that again. So this is... I guess it's a build a warrior action? It's not a master administrator action. It's like it's a bonus thing. It's a build a warrior action, I guess, that he just gets to do in his decree phase. So he wants someone he's got an available weapon for. So that's going to be these 2. Most points he's going to choose. Yay, he's not going to choose the one I was picking. So he is going to get 8 points for building this. He's still in the lead a little bit. And then, so we've decided what he's building. Don't worry about that. And then groups. So yes, there is... No one's built one with a halberd yet. So again, he's going to build a lone warrior, trying to get dominance. So we've already been through all of this, haven't we? Like, we can ignore most of the flowchart, because the highest priority space is here, which he's taken. So then it spaces outwards from the inspectors. That would be priority 2. That would be priority 2. This is the only space that's available. Because at the moment, he just cares about... He would care about priority 3 spaces as well, and then look at scoring tiles, which are not affected at all in this quadrant. Then narrow the selection to the highest priority possible. This is the only priority 2 space. So he's going to pop that there, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, because he's kind of cut off his group there, which is, I suppose, okay for him. He's going to get a point for that at the end. So he's just going to pop that there, I think, and then score the points. His corresponding weapon token is available, so he is going to move it to the front of his row, flip it, and then it was the halberd for which he gets 3 points. So he's ahead. I've already had the points for this, haven't I? I was just deciding where to put it. So at the moment, I think the best thing to do now that he's gone there is for me to place over here. Because in judging these 2 inspectors, if I go here, I'll take domination here, he'll take domination here. But if I come down here, we've both got 2 each. I'm expanding a group, which is a good thing, as we'll see later. But I break the tie because I've got this kneeling crossbowman next to one of my people, which I am cutting off right now, though, from being in a bigger group, which maybe we just need to do. Should maybe put the crossbowman the other way around. Yeah, I'm going to build that group up. That's what I'm doing. Okay. I haven't got any weapons active still, so I can't do anything. And I think that is going to be it for the round. Well, for the action phase of the round anyway. Then we go into scoring. Make sure I get all the bits of the scoring done. I don't need to know master abilities. The scoring phase, we do the inspectors, and then the musicians, and then the scoring tile. So, for the Prime Minister in the scoring section, we need to first check out, can the Prime Minister do a surprise build? Has the Prime Minister got 6 or more clay? No. No surprise builds there then. Has he got 8 or more coins? I ended up with no coins. Oh well. 8 or more coins he has. So he discards 5 of them. And he's going to do a surprise warrior. So he's still going to mess me about, isn't he? Yeah, I should have thought about that. Where I was placing things. Anyway, so where's he going to decide to build one now? This is the only action really where there's like a million options to consider. So he's doing a surprise build. So he doesn't care about having an available weapon. He is just going to pick the type that's worth the most points. So these are both worth 7 points. Still tied. Which one's going to be scored by a scoring tile sooner? Neither of them. Which has got a more wanted weapon that he has? The halberd is right at the top. So he's going to build that type. He's probably going to expand upon his group. So place it on the board. First of all, select the group which the Prime Minister extends. It's going to be this lone warrior, because there is now a type that he's building that he can form a group out of, which is 2 or more of the same type. We don't have to worry about which one to choose, because there's only one. If a single option was found, select a space amongst all spaces adjacent to that group. So he's got 2 choices. What's he going to choose out of it? So his priority is to go for spaces that are still in that group, isn't it? He's gonna do me for majority. I should have gone up here, I think, to keep majority. But yeah, he's gonna go here because he wants to win this majority and take it away from me. That's a swing, isn't it, in a 2-player game? He's gonna go there, I think. Yeah, there's nowhere else that he's too worried about, because up here he wouldn't be extending his group. So he wants to extend the group and dominate. So that's what he's done there. Continuing with the surprise builds section, has he still got 8 or more coins? No. If he did, he'd get to do it a second time. Only up to twice for clay and coins respectively, though. So up to 4 surprise builds at the end of a round. Then inspector scoring is, as we've said before, who's got the most pieces in a row or column. So for the row, he's got 3 to my 2. It doesn't matter about the majority. He gets 7. I am in that row, though, so I get 3. I didn't give him his 7 for doing the build either. So he's rocketing ahead. I'm kind of building it for later, though. I'm going in this middle section. I'm going in this quadrant. Then for the column, it's 1 each. Nobody's dominating, so we each get 3 for participating in that column. Then we are looking at musicians. So a point for everyone in their rows and columns. So that's 1, 2, 3 for me. And none for them. And then the current round's tile is who's got the most coins. 5 points for whoever's dominating the coin market, and 2 points if you are participating in it. I've left myself with no coins, so he's going to get the full 5, and I am seriously in trouble at the moment. So I think that is it. The Prime Minister's clay never dries out, and he doesn't get coins and stuff from these masters either. And he's going to put another master out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll decide where he's going to put a master out. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's not his. And he doesn't pay, so it doesn't really matter which one he puts out. But it means that he can activate an extra action now as we go along. And then for me at the cleanup phase, we don't do priority and turn order. My wet clay becomes dry. Get a coin for any masters that reward you with coins. Oh, actually, one of my clay stays wet because I've got one of these masters. And then it's not the last round. Get all of your workers back. Rotate each of the rings in their directions. Advance the round marker and carry on. So I think we are almost there. He's got an artisan now. Da, da, da. You go one space that way. You go one space that way. And we've got our round 2 sorted. The Prime Minister's going to go first, but I'm going to stop talking for a second, have a drink. Yeah, it's brand new. It's coming out. Well, it's a bit hard for me to tell. Like I thought this was already out, but yeah, it seems that it's coming out at Essen. Just because I think some videos, they were probably with a prototype that happened months ago. It takes, like, I have to do it a lot, and like it depends how complicated the game is, but like especially it's been particularly stressful this last couple of weeks because with all the Essen games coming around, sometimes like for 11, we had played a little demo about 4 months ago at an expo where we played about a round of it, but had to learn the game that day. Some of the games arrived like pretty much before they've been played. Like I knew and was pretty comfortable with the normal rules to this, but I've learnt the solo rules. Well, I say learnt. I still haven't got the flowchart of where they place warriors down. Still got to read through that bit by bit. But yeah, I think it depends how you learn as well. Some people like hate videos and things and just want the facts, just want the rules. And yeah, I'm much better with videos. Way better. Like it's good to have like I was watching John Gets Games to make sure I had the normal structure of the game down this morning. But no one's done a solo video yet. That's what you get with prototypes. You can't watch anyone's videos before. But yeah, I tend to be quick learning a game, but kind of because I have to be. But I used to I would get a game, I would watch a video probably a couple of times, and I would play through games like two-handed just against myself to make sure I knew what I was doing, and then I would show it to Rach, who I play pretty much everything with, and that was a lot better for Rach to be taught games like that. Whereas like as it evolved and I had to play more and more games, she kind of had to be learning with me, which sometimes she's really enjoyed. She wants to be the one reading the rules out. She doesn't take it in if she's getting the rules read to her. So she's the one with the rule book reading through it. But yeah, it's not as good when you're doing that. Right then, so Prime Minister's going first, isn't he? Let's roll his dice then and see where his overseer's moving. He's moving 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can place someone there. And so he's going to get 4 coins. Going to have a load of money again. 2, 3, 4. When he takes the priority, what does he get to do? He gets a spare action, but he gets to do something else. He rolls for a decree as well. So his decree is going to be number 6. Oh, make sure you clear off the previous ones. Number 6. That hasn't cleared it off, has it? There we go. Number 6, and he takes a spare action, which gives him 2 points. And does he want a coin or a clay? Well, the scoring options now, the scoring option at the end of this round is going to be this quadrant. So neither of them care about coins or clay. So does he have 5 or more clay? No. Then he takes a clay. Okie doke. So that was his that one. Then his specialist. I don't think he's going to be willing to build a specialist still. So the only one he's got a weapon for is the musician, and he will only build the musician if it would score him twice as much or more points than it would score me, and he would get at least 2 points. So the only place that he could place it in a way that he would get 2 points would be out here. He would get 1, 2, 3 points. I would get 2 though, so he wouldn't choose to do that. It's just like hypothetical if like we were about to score it right now. Did he? Yeah, he gets the points. Did he not get the points when he scored in his surprise build? I'll add him on if I forgot to put him on. So yeah, I think he would still choose not to do a specialist because that's the only one he's got a weapon for, and it doesn't fit his criteria. So he's done all of his actions there. I've only got one clay. He's taken the really good coins action. So taking the master action now, I have got a couple of people out, which is a plus. So say here, upgrade to an artisan, make it easier to do placing workers late in future rounds. Then get 3 clay, then activate a weapon. Not the best weapon, but that's a decent option, I think. Anything to do with specialists, I've got no activated weapons. Or no available weapons, so they are not as attractive right now. Oh, the inspectors as well. A step of ending the round. They should move a space. There are other things, like this master action, that will move inspectors. Otherwise, it's just 1 per round. So I'm doing decent for this row, at least. I think I like that. I'm going to go here. So first up, my craftsman gets turned into an artisan. Then I activate this master action, which I've already got a worker there for, so I don't need to pay anything. A master I've already got there. And I get 3 wet clay. And then finally, I activate my halberd? Halberd? One of the things I think I've only seen written down. Don't matter, though. Oh, weird. We didn't do Thingy's Decree. There's so much to remember. Oh, the wheel would have been different. Right. It's okay. I can just put the clay back. I didn't do too much. And turn him back into a craftsman, because the wheel's changing and I might do a different thing. So he would have flipped his crossbow, is what he would have done with his decrees. So would you take a different action now? It would get me 1 fewer clay. But other things might be a bit different as well. 3 coins. And then I'd have to spend those 3 coins going here, but I could get all the dry clay from 2 of the roofs, which would be 3 dry clay. It's not as good, is it? I could just get 6 clay, but then it's do a specialist, which I don't really want. I think I'm still going to stick with that action. Still going to stick with it. I'm just only going to get 2 clay instead of the 3. And then activate my weapon. Stick with it. Prime Minister is going to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Has he got 4 clay? No, can't do that. So we'll roll for a decree. I need some kind of reminder that he's got spare decrees. He is rolling 10. So he's gonna do a warrior after his 3 actions. So couldn't do that. Has he got someone here? He has. That's where he just placed someone. So he gets 3 clay now. And does he? He does things differently, doesn't he, with the masters? So just with this one with some he does different things, but with this one he just get 3 clay, and then he activates his halberd. But then he's got decrees. The decree is just spend 3 clay to build a warrior. Okay. So the flowchart. He builds a type. He wants to build a type he has an available weapons for, unless there's a type he hasn't got a weapon for that's worth 3 or more points than the types he does have a weapon for. That's not true at the moment. There's no particularly big difference in points for any of these. So he has got weapons for all but the sword, actually. So of these, the one worth the most points, this one is worth 7 points, the bowman. So that's what he's going to go for. Let's give him his points. And then place the piece on the board. And he scores the points regardless. Select the group which he extends with this piece. So a bowman, the only bowman on the board is the one that he cut off. So he can't extend a group. So he'll do a new lone warrior. Select a space amongst all spaces not adjacent to warriors of the matching type. He will. Okay, so we are looking at, see the great big picture. We're looking at priority, the intersection of the inspectors, and from then further along is a higher priority because that's where the inspectors are gonna move later on. So the intersection of the inspectors is right here. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, I think. Yeah, this one would be a 3 as well. So in rounds 1 to 2, he will look at the spaces with priority 1 to 3. So he's looking at these spaces here. Then what's going to be better for scoring? None of those spaces will be affected by scoring at all. So then narrow the selection to the highest priority available. So now he's narrowed it down to a space, hasn't he? The number 1 space. This one. So he'll pop that there. Then he's got the corresponding weapon. So move it to the front of his row. Flip the token to unavailable. It was the bow, so he gets 3 points. I mean, it's looking a bit scary, isn't it? So that was his decree action, wasn't it? We are done with his turn. Yes, we're done. Okay, so what would I like to do? I've got a money. Where did I get money from? Is that right? Should I have a single money? Maybe I ignored something. How have I got that money? Let's place a worker. I've got 3 clay now, so some of these might be a better option. I have got a weapon. Let's see. Build someone for 3 clay. I have got this. So I could pay 2 coins to build an extra warrior. I haven't got 2 coins though. And then if I activate the weapon... No. No, that's not the one. Haven't got 4 clay. I've got 2 clay. I haven't got someone on the blacksmith though, and I couldn't afford to put someone out, so that's not a great option. I haven't got 4 clay. I've got 3 clay. That would get me 2 back, and then I could activate my sword at the end. That seems decent. I don't have to build a warrior every time. But I would like to build up. Yeah, let's go and build a warrior. 3 clay. The warrior type I want to build... I want to get in on the halberdsman. Yeah. I want to muscle in on this group. So groups at the end of the game, as long as they're just not sole people standing alone, a group is worth points equal to the number of different colours involved. So the number of different players involved multiplied by the number of pieces you have in that group. And there's also domination scoring. So you will get loads of points if you dominate that group, if you have the single most amount. Thank you, Clay in the warehouse. So I would like to try and muscle in on this group over here. He's started this group with a couple of these pieces in. It's not going to help me out for these particular inspectors. Maybe I'll get to move them, though. But I would like to try and take control of that group at some point. And it's in this row with my musician, which, you know, he's already muscled in and got a point off of that musician, so I want to get in there. It's not helping for, you know, the round scoring. You want to be in this quadrant. 7 points for the most in that quadrant. But hey. So I'm going there. That would get me 6 points. And then I can activate my weapon. So the ability of the halberdsman is that you can move one of your warriors as many spaces as you like, but through empty space. You can't move them through other statues. So at the moment, I don't see how that would help me. No, there we go. That's the end of that sentence. No, I don't see how that would help me. So I don't think I'm going to do that. So I've built a warrior for 3. I've had my points. I'm not doing the bonus. I am taking 2 wet clay. And I am activating my sword weapon tile. That is it for my turn. It is quite like this. This is always how David's. I'd say this is a bit more complicated just because of the logistics of this. This is a bit more complicated than, say, Tiletum that I did. Was that last week? So many games in the last few weeks. I forget. That's still like his solo modes are like this. He tries to replicate the decisions you would have to go through if you were playing against real people. So the bots will still bend rules and act in their own way, but their end result is hopefully something that is competitive and comparable with the real multiplayer experience. Whereas, like, other ones that have done, like, say, Revive solo mode, you are completely playing the game alone, albeit with a very harsh time limit, and you're trying to beat your score in that way. So you're not playing against an opponent in that way, but you are restricted in some other way. I don't know what my point was in there, but yeah, there's the first times that you play them, there are usually loads of these steps that once you kind of get into the end of your first game, you are whipping through these steps because you already see through the matrix and know you can see that, oh well, there's no group there. I'm going to place, there's the inspectors, that's where it goes. But to begin with, you've got to kind of methodically go through so that you don't forget stuff. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting too much though. Oh yeah, thanks everyone. Like the video and all of that good stuff. Right. So that was my turn, wasn't it? I did all of my things. So it is time for. I'm not forgetting any decrees from his last turn, am I? No. It is time for the Prime Minister. 2 spaces. 1, 2. It's available. Pop a craftsman. Can he build a warrior for 3 clay? Yes. Put a dry clay down. Okay, here it goes. So he's got weapons available. There is not a 3-point gulf between the types he hasn't got a weapon available for, so he will choose halberd or spear. Choose the one that's worth the most points. Spear, it's worth 6 points. Oh no, they're both worth 6. Now both of these spaces are worth 6. So, still tied. Whichever type corresponds to a more wanted weapon that he has, that's halberd. Is higher up in priority, so he's going to build another one of these. He's going to stop me from getting priority, isn't he? Let's give him his 6 points now before I forget. He's presumably going to continue his group. So find a group that has at least 1 empty space and meets some criteria. A mixed group tied for dominance? No. A mixed group you are dominating? No. A mixed group containing more of your warriors than his? No. A group containing your warriors, where the difference in warriors in your favour is equal to or less than the number of rounds remaining. A mixed group containing more warriors of his than yours, but at least 1 of yours. So he still will go in there to grow his lead, yes. I think that's if there were multiple groups to decide between, but there isn't. There's 1 group of these halberd-wielding warriors. He will grow his group, so there's nothing really to think about because there is only 1 space that would extend this group, and that's where he's going. So that's where he pops that down, and then he's got a bonus, hasn't he, if he activates his weapon. So the weapon goes to the front of the row, flip it to unavailable, and he gets 3 points. Okay. Is there any coming back from this? Right. That was just his first thing, wasn't it? So he built, then he hasn't got a master here, so he rolls for a decree, doesn't he? No, he does a spare action. So a spare action is 2 points, And he hasn't got 5 clay, so he takes a clay. Then, specialist time. The only specialist he could put out is a musician. I think he'll put out a musician now, actually. So, if he is willing to place a musician, if there is such a place where the difference in points it would score him is twice as much as it would score you, and he would score at least 2 points. If multiple places exist, he will choose the one where the difference is the greatest. So yeah, I think he will. He'll flip his weapon. He'll pay the 3 coins it's going to cost him, and it's not going to give him a massive difference. But if he puts, oh, actually, he can pop a musician out here. Look now, and that's going to score him 1, 2, 3 points at the end of every round. That doesn't benefit me in any way. So that's I think the key thing to do. Right. So. Placed the specialist, done all of his stuff. Didn't get any decrees, did he? No. So it's time for me. I am down to 2 clay, so I could do something. I don't have someone at the blacksmith, so I could forego that, though, and get a wet clay or a coin. Maybe it's worth getting a coin. Because I would like more warriors out, and to be thinking about this quadrant, which could be taken over. Because I've only got one thing in there, really. And I don't want my lovely group of spearmen to be cut off by his ever-expanding halberd group. Blacksmith's great, it activates all of your weapons. I have got 3 workers, so we could build up to something. I haven't got any coins still, so I can't adjust the wheel. I think I'm feeling like we just build and forego this and get the coin, and then activate the weapon for later. I would like the sword, but I'm already in that space. I don't think it's really worth wetting the clay when I've only got a couple to wet. I mean, getting 6 clay is quite nice, and then maybe spend the next 2 actions just spending through that. The only specialist I could build, though... Oh, I have got a sword. I could build a horse. Oh, I've only got 1 coin. If I had another coin, I'd show you the horse. The horse is great. Can we build a warrior and then build up and do the horse later? Yes. Right, let's do this. Let's... How are we going to do that? Yeah, this will be fine. Build the warrior. Build the warrior. 2 clay. 1 goes here. I am building a spearman, which is going to be 6 points. I haven't got the spear to be able to do special ability, which is get 2 coins and a point. Unfortunately, I'm going to pop it here because I don't want my group getting cut off. I think that's that. The blacksmith, I haven't got a master. I can't afford the 3 coins to put a master out there. So I am going to choose to either take a wet clay or a coin. I'm going to choose to take a coin instead. And then finally, activate my bow. So I've got 3 of my weapons activated. Prime Minister has rolled a 3 and a 2. So the lower number, 1, 2. Can he build for 4 clay? No, he can't. So he's going to roll on the decree table. And that's going to get him a 9. So if he can get 3 clay through the rest of his things, he might get to build one later on. He gets 2 coins. and then do a specialist. He has got no weapons at the moment, so I think he just gets a coin, doesn't he? Oh, where's the specialist bit? Oh, here it is. If no specialist can be placed, he gains a coin instead. There we go. Then for decrees, pay 3 clay for a warrior. If he hasn't got enough clay, he gets a spare action instead. We know that spare action is going to be get 2 points and a clay. And then clear off his decrees for next time. There we go. So for me, I want to get some clay. A specialist wouldn't be a bad thing. Yeah, let's do it. And we can hopefully build a warrior one more time with the last action. I'm going to go out here, get 4 wet clay, 2 wet clay, so 6 altogether. And then finally build a specialist. Let's show off the horse. So, you need to flip your sword to the other side. Although building a swordsman, you could move the inspectors. If you saved your sword for next time when you're doing a build. No, it's horse time. We're doing horse. Flip the sword, spend your 2 coins. Quickly as I got them, they're gone. You take the horsey and you put it so that one of your warriors is on this space. Oh, look at the wobbling of the table with this camera. No deal, I won't stay on it too long. So you put one of your warriors on this space, and that warrior now counts as if they're in every space that the horse is in. They still only count once. So for say a row, if we're looking along the row, it doesn't now count 3 times, but it counts in a row where it wouldn't normally count. So I would like to pop it over here because this warrior now scores for this musician because it's in that column. It will score when the inspectors are in all of these columns now. And it's kind of blocking off some spaces. It makes it easier to expand this group. It's blocking off some spaces in this quadrant in case he wants to build in there to try and get the score in. Because at the moment, I've got 2 things in there and I break ties. So I'm hoping that does me good. So there's my specialist done. Prime Minister's last turn. Oh yeah, the solo mode for this, it is official and all available, but you have to get a PDF and print a couple of things off. 2, 1, 2 has got an artisan, so can place there. Has got 2 clay to build, so 1 on the warehouse. And then, so a type he has a weapon for, he's got no weapons. Type worth the most points. Everything but the halberd is worth 6 points. Still tied, whichever type corresponds to a more wanted weapon. So that's going to be bow. Just in this priority list that he's got. So that's 6 points. Then, can he extend a group? No, because this bowman's been cut off again. So no, he can't extend a group. So he will place a new lone warrior. So the priority would be, that would be 1, these would be 2, this would be like priority 3. And the only space of priority 3, I think. So I believe he would pop him there. And then he can't activate a weapon because he hasn't got one available. So that's his build. The blacksmith, he hasn't got a master token there. So he resolves a spare action, which is going to be gain a clay and 2 points. And then finally activate his bow. Okay. Didn't roll for any decrees, did he? No, he didn't. So, we've got all this clay. We want to make sure we build something. So, build a warrior. Then get 2 coins. Then do a specialist. What specialist would you do, though? Maybe the musician? To like score all 3 of mine, but that's really expensive. I'm not going to have the money for that. So I don't think that's going to be the one. This one, build a warrior for get 2 points, then do a specialist. Not very good, but I think all the others are blocked off. So if you want to build someone, those are your options. Where's this specialist? It's here. Leaving myself with no money all the time is, hurting me. I've got all this clay that will go dry if I do nothing. I think you don't really want to ignore the outside action because you get no, you get no substitution, you get no compensation for ignoring it. We could just keep all of this and it'll go dry. But then what are we going to do? Wet clay. We're wetting clay that's about to go dry. Get 3 coins, ignore that to get another coin maybe. Activate your spear. But you want another warrior out, really. You're dominating this, he's dominating this. I would like to move this along, but that's blocked off. And I haven't got a sword to build a swordsman and do his special action, which is move the inspectors. Let's go for it. Build a warrior. 4 wet clay. 1 goes on there. Dry. I'm going to go for the halberd, which is only worth 5 points. I'm fighting over this group. I need to place him here so I continue the group. So it's 3-2 at the moment. So I'm going to want another one down. And I'm fighting for dominance when the inspector moves. But if I activate his special ability now, I can move one of your warriors any number of spaces in a straight line. So if I'm willing to spend my halberd token, I could move my warrior here up 1, so it would count for the inspector next time. I would still have majority here, but I might not actually. No, that's a bad idea, because he would just put someone in there and take away my majority. Bad idea. Forget I said anything. I won't flip that. Then get 2 coins, and then do a specialist, so I can either do the crossbowman and break ties, but break ties for what? Or I could put down the footman, only cost 1 coin. I'm thinking it could go here, because I've got 2 things then. I've blocked off a lot of spaces around it. I've got 2 things around it already. There's only 3 more spaces. I feel like it's pretty likely I would be able to get majority there. That cost me my halberd as well, so another reason not to have spent it earlier. Yes. So that only matters for endgame scoring. Yes. So that's my last action. Is it? Has he not placed a worker at some point? He's not placed a worker somewhere along the line. Because I take the last action. Right. So he gets to do his surprise builds. He hasn't got loads of clay, but he's got loads of coins again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He gets to do a surprise build with his clay. And he's got no weapons active still, so just looking at the thing worth the most points, there are still 3 types that would get him 6 points. Scoring priority, it's going to be... Oh no, he's got bow available. He's got bow available, so he will choose that. Gets 6 points. I mean, yeah. There's ways of increasing the difficulty of this, you know? So he's going to build a bowman. He can grow a group now because of his group from last time. And he would grow it... Like, he would look at 1, 2, 3, wouldn't he? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. No, he can't narrow it. So it's only if possible. He can't narrow it down to that. So for spaces satisfying the scoring tiles, he might want to go here. Yeah, because then he'd be in the musician, he'd be all that. I think he would... No, but he wants to go next to the bowman. So he would choose... I think to just extend his dominance there. And it goes next to his musician. Yeah, I think that's what he'd choose. So he's had his points for it. He can spend his... He can flip his bow, and that scores him 3 more points. That was his surprise build. And then... Inspector scoring works the same. So the inspector here, I've got 1, 2, 3 things. He's got 1. So I have dominance. I get 7 to his 3. But I'm not in there at all, am I? He's got dominance of this one, and I'm not in there at all. So he gets 7 and I get nothing. So... Then we do musicians. My musician here scores me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. But it also scores him 1 point. And then this musician scores me 1 point, but him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And then the scoring tile is dominance in the bottom right quadrant. He actually isn't in the bottom right quadrant, so there's some reprieve there. I get 7, he gets nothing. Move along. So it's currently 108 to 68. So he's got a fair old lead. Done all of that. Cleanup phase. His clay doesn't dry out. It's not the last round, so he's going to choose a new master to get a tile on. Number 1. He hasn't got one there yet. And that's that. My cleanup. Yeah, priority doesn't change. Wet clay goes dry, but I can keep 1 wet because I've got a marker here. I gain a coin because I've got a marker here. And get your workers back, move the wheels, move the round track. So I've got my workers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got his workers. Move this wheel 1 space, move this wheel 1 space. And we're ready when that lines up. There we go. Okay, Prime Minister always goes first and is going to go 1, 2 spaces forward and pop a worker there. So soak the clay. When resolving this action, he takes clay from the supply equal to the number of dry clay in the largest warehouse stack, which is going to be 3 dry clay. Well, he gets it as wet. So that's the soak the clay action. Then he gets 2 wet clay. Oh dear. He's got a lot. And then the specialist, he's got no weapons, so there's no point looking through the priority. He just gets a coin. Okay. The get clay, get 4 clay, then get 2 points, then activate your bow. My bow's already activated. That's a terrible deal. I mean, get 4 money, then get 3 clay from him, then activate your sword. That seems like a pretty nice action to me. Out of everything available, I mean, turn another craftsman into an artisan's tempting, but no, I think this is a good shout. Have some money for a change. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have already got a master here, so I just get the 3 wet clay. So I've got 4 now. And then activate my sword token, which is good because I might want to adjust the inspectors, who should have moved a space along. Is that a step I'm missing in the cleanup phase? Or should it happen in the scoring phase? Yeah, it happens at the end of the inspection of the scoring phase. I've remembered to do it, just a bit late. Okay. That's it for my action, isn't it? It is time for Prime Minister, who is going to move 5 spaces along. Oh, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, hopefully, these big points later, these round tiles are starting to be worth 9, 11, 13 points for having majority, so hopefully I can catch up there. Like this round, he isn't in the middle at all yet, so we'll see. Right. Five spaces. No, 4. 5 and a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop your worker down. Soak the clay. He gets another 3 wet clay. He's behaving differently, at least this time. Not just building every turn. And then, well, I don't think he's got much more than me, has he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same amount in there. And then he has got a worker here now, so he'll do it, won't he? I'm pretty sure he gets to just take that master builder action. He pays coins that are required by the action, so equal to the round number, which is 3. And then he places a warrior. So he's doing it with a master administrator action. What has he got an available weapon for? Nothing. A bow should have gone to top priority when he flipped that. Most points, 6, 5, 5, 6. So one of these two. Whichever type is to be scored by a scoring tile soonest is going to be the sword or the spear. Sword is first, so this one. Oh, thanks, Shiffy. See you later. Hopefully, I'll do a big turnaround. So he's going to go for the sword. He scores the 6 points regardless of the action that let him do it. Normally, if I did this action, it wouldn't give me points. And then, can he extend a group? Yes. So there is no choice for him to make, is there? If he wants to extend a group, there we go. He's taken dominance of a group away from me. So that's what he's doing, I believe. He hasn't got a sword, so he can't do its special action. And that's that. And then finally, he gets his halberd weapon flipped. He didn't roll any decrees, did he? Nope. So it's back to me. So I've got all this clay now. I've got some coins for a change, so I could flip things around if I'm not particularly happy with my options. Or I could get another person out. Do you know what? I might move things around. How much clay have I got? That wheel can only turn one way. No, I'm not going to. If I could turn the middle wheel the other way around, it would be great. I think I'm going to build a swordsman. And then get a couple of things back and reactivate the token. I don't think I particularly want to build a specialist. Let's go here. 3 to build, and we put 1 dry in the warehouse. I'm going to build a swordsman because I can move an inspector 1 space back or forward. Yeah. Build a swordsman. So that's 6 points. Because that is round 4's criteria, build the swordsman. I would like to keep control of this group, or take back dominance of it. So I have another person on there. And then the special ability, if I flip my sword over now, I can get a point, and I can move one of the inspectors forward or backwards a space. I think here, where I'm already dominating by like 3-0 at the moment. Yeah, we'll move that one along. Okay, so that's it for my build. Then I get 2 wet clay, and then I can activate my spear. Prime Minister is going to move 2 spots. 1, 2. Pop a worker down. And turns it into an artisan. Gets 2 coins. And does a specialist. He's only got his halberd available. Will he choose the halberd? So that would be a musician. I don't think... Maybe he would, actually. Can he put the musician in a place where the difference in points it would score him is twice as much than the points it would score him, and it would score him at least 2? Well, yeah, he could put it up here, couldn't he? He'd have to flip his halberd and pay 4 coins. But couldn't he put it out here? And he would get... It's 2 musicians in that row. So that's another 4 points to him and nothing to me. It seems good to me. Well, to him. So that's his specialist. And he's done. I've got 4 clay again now. We've got a couple of weapons, so maybe a... Maybe a spearman, that could get me some more money. I don't necessarily want a specialist. Oh, out here. I'm going to go up here. 4 clay for a build. 2, 3, 4. Pop one on that warehouse. I'm going to build. Is that where I want to go? So I get more clay back. No, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I'm going to go down here and spend 2 clay. So one goes in this warehouse to build. Ooh. Let's say a spearman, and then we can do their special action. A spearman, which is 6 points. I'm going to put him there. And which I know isn't really helping the musicians, but it's expanding my group. But he might never come into that group now. And I'm going to flip my spear for it to do its special action of get me 2 coins and a point. I am then going to go to the master over here. It's going to cost me 3 coins to put a token out. And I can move an inspector 1 or 2 spaces. I'm going to move this inspector a space as well. So hopefully I can make a bit of a comeback on the majorities this round. Afterwards, though, the inspectors are in just kind of a wilderness where I don't have tokens. And then finally activate your bow. Oh, it was already activated. Ah, that's a bit of a waste. Maybe that's why I didn't want to do this. I think that's still good. I'm not going to take it back. Prime Minister is going 2 spaces. 1, 2. Go in here, getting 3 coins. Activating the blacksmith, but he hasn't got a space there, so he takes a spare action. He's got plenty of clay, so he takes a coin and 2 points. And then finally, a specialist. He's got no weapons, so if he can't place a specialist, he gets a coin. For me... Oh, I moved his artisan instead of his disc. I wondered how that had gotten like that. Okay, for me, I've still got 2 clay. I've got coins, so I could move this to this space. So I could build something for 2. Build something for 2, then get 2 clay. Then do a specialist. Yeah. Pay 2 coins to turn the wheel that way. Hey, it's good having coins in it. I can play my artisan, because there's a space there. Pay 2 clay. Clay's really building up there. I'm going to build someone with a halberd. So 5 points there. Haven't got that to flip, unfortunately. Pop him in this group that we're still fighting over, apparently. Now, I could place it separately and then join the group up later, just so he's next to that musician. I'm going to pop him there for now. And Yeah, that's the build. Then get 2 clay, and then do a specialist. I've only got a bow, but I can do the bow and spend 2 coins to get my kneeling crossbowman, and I'm going to make him have some kind of majority on things. So at the moment, that group is 3-3, but I have got the crossbowman, so I would break the tie. So I'm going for that. Final action for the PM. 2 more spaces. 1, 2. Pop that down. Can they build for 4? Yes. 1 goes on the warehouse. What do they build? They've got no weapons. So most points, all 5 points. Which is going to be scored sooner? Swordsman. So he's going to go for swordsman. 5 points. Where's he going to put it? Can he expand a group that he hasn't got control of, especially? Yes. So it'll go there, I believe. And you can see like it's really filling up now. And he hasn't got a sword, so he can't activate it. And I think that's it. Next up for his action, I can't remember what he does. He does a spare action and something else. Roll for a decree and take a spare action. So he gets 8. So he's going to build another warrior in a minute. And he takes a spare action. Has he got 5 clay? He has, so he'll take a coin. And then his third action is flip his bow. And then doing the decrees, he's got 2 clay to build a warrior with. Swordsmen are still worth 5 points, and their majority is coming up next round. Oh, he's suddenly rocketing ahead for majority for this. He will take control of the group as well, and 5 more points. And he's gonna... I don't think he's gonna get to do a bonus, is he? 1, 2, 4, 6. He's only got 7 coins, which is good. He has just gotten to build 2 things there, though. Okay, so he's done all of that. He can't do any emergency things. So can't do any surprise builds. So it's time for inspector scoring. Oh no, I've got someone to place. I go second, don't I, all the time? Okay, so I can still change this. He's taking control of my group. And now we've got an even number of swordsmen. Although I would break the tie because one of my swordsmen has got the crossbowman facing him. Okay, I've got 2 clay. I've only got 1 coin though, so I can't turn the wheel in such a way as I'd be able to spend 2 clay. There's no point wetting the dry clay right now. 4 coins, 2 clay, and then nothing. Or 5 coins and nothing. Because I can't do... I've got no weapons, so I can't do specialists, but I can't turn the wheel. And I'm not in either of these specialists to make these actions worth my while. So that I could ignore that and get a coin, but I'm not in his thing, and it cost me 4 coins to get an action in a master token at the moment. So I think 4 coins, 2 clay, or just 5 coins. I think 4 coins, 2 clay. Go up here. 1, 2, 3. 4 coins. The clay is going to dry out, but maybe it'll make it worth it to do a wet your dry clay action. So that was my last action. Because I couldn't have built with just 2 clay. So now we do inspector scoring. Over here, 3-1. I'm dominating. He is present though. So 7 points to me, 3 to him. Over here though, I've moved it. I am dominating with 7. But he isn't present. So I get me 100 now. Then, musicians. He's going to catch up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 for me, 1 for him. For this musician. This musician scores him 2, 4, 5, 6 to my 1. And then this musician scores him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to my none. Terribly on the musicians. Maybe I should have built them first. What could I have done though? Current round's tile. Majority in the middle column. He hasn't built in it. So 9 points to me, nothing to him. Is that less of a gulf? I think it is. Wasn't he like 40 points ahead last time? Caught up a little bit. And then cleanup phase. His clay doesn't dry out, and he puts another master out. I'll just roll 1 dice, otherwise it just confuses things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now he hasn't got one there yet, so he's got another master out. Flip that. Move the inspectors. Get your workers back. My clay dries out except for 1, but I get 2 coins. And I think that's that. Prime Minister for round 4. Oh god, I'm taking ages again, aren't I? Moves 2 spaces. Oh, move the wheel as well. That wheel that way. That wheel that way. He's getting... Oh, that's potentially worse for me. He's getting 1, 2, 3, 4 clay. He is not in that master, so he gets a spare action. He's got loads of clay now, so he'll pick a coin and get 2 points. And then... They couldn't do the master. Then specialist. He's got a weapon. He's got a bow. Will he choose to build the kneeling archer? Is there a group without a kneeling archer? Containing warriors of us both. And the kneeling archer can be placed facing one of his warriors of that group. Yes, and he can lock me out of the group. So he would need to do his bow and 3 coins. Inadvertently, but the only space that he can put his kneeling archer facing that group is there, and that cuts off any more placement in that group, and he's got 3 to my 2, which is very frustrating. I'll still get some points, but he'll get a lot out of that. Facing one of the warriors of his group. So he's done that. He's done his action. He needs to place a worker then. I have played Tekken solo. I couldn't say that I remember it enough to compare though. I really liked it. I've still got it. I liked it that much, but it was about a year ago, I think. Not quite a year ago. But that would have been the last time I played it as well. I really liked it. You can probably see me muddling through it in a video or another. Oh dear, 2-hour-old tea. It's still good. Okay, so that was him. I've got 1 clay. I've got plenty of money. So it would be nice now. Swordsmen are going to be evaluated. We've got an even number of them, and we've both got kneeling crossbowmen now. I can't build a statue right now. Do I want to wet my clay? I could wet the clay, get 2 more clay, and get a weapon. First off, I'm going to get 4 coins, spend them to go out here, and get all of the dry clay from 2 areas. These 2. Next time we'll dry the clay out, and then I think we'll just build 3 things. I've got like 10, more than 10 dry clay now. And then I get to activate my halberd. Prime Minister. rolls a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can go there because he's got artisans. So he will gain 4 coins. He is here, so I've kind of stopped him getting as much clay. He gets all the clay as wet from the one with the most, and discards everything from the one with the second to most, so now there's no clay out here. Then he activates his halberd as well. Copycat. Okay, we want to wet the clay, so we can either wet it, get 2 more, get a specialist, wet it 2 more, get a sword, but we can, remember, swing that around. So we could swing it around here and then pay for a warrior, but then do a specialist that I don't particularly want to do. Now let's just go here, wet all of our dry clay, it doesn't matter how much you've got, get 2 more wet clay, and then activate your sword. And then it's going to be build, build, build. And we've got some money in case we need it. Prime Minister, moving 3. Has he got 4 clay? What do you think? 2, 3, 4. 1 goes on there. So he has got a halberd. So that's going to be his priority, unless one he hasn't got a weapon for is worth 3 or more points. That's a shame because he's going to... I was going to put something else in the way here and stop him from expanding that group. So he's going to put it in this group, basically, isn't he? The only place where he can put it to expand his influence. So now we're not tied again. I was going to build one next time, though. And it's next to his musician and everything. Right pain. He gets 5 points for that. And he can activate his weapon to get 3 points. Okay. He has a place to work. Then, has he got the blacksmith activated? Yes. Activates all of his weapons. That's going to hurt. And then activates this, but he can't. Does he get... He gets nothing if they're already all available. That's at least something. Okay, we want to build. We want to build. We want to build. Don't necessarily need more clay after doing it either. I'm going to go here. 4 clay for a build. Build someone with a halberd. For 4 points. I'm going to go there. So I've still got the tiebreaker. And then... I can activate it to move any of my warriors. I can only really move him or the one I've just placed. Which I wouldn't really want to do. I would get 3 points, though. If I just activated it. I might just do it to get 3 points. I might want the footman later. To be able to do this. No, I'm just going to do it to get 3 points. So that's that done. Then pay to build a warrior. It's round 4. So that's 4 coins. And I don't get the points or... the bonus. So let's do another one. Let's take control of this group. Put it there, so it's next to my musician and this musician. And then finally a specialist. Horse costs 3. Spend my sword. And he'll count for this inspector. I think that's alright. Yeah, we'll go for that. PM, 1 space. Turns his worker into an artisan. Gets 2 coins. Builds a specialist. Oh dear. Okay. In right to left order of available weapons. So first of all, can't build a musician, there aren't any. Can he build... Will he build a horse? No, he'll never choose a horse, will he? Bow. He will build a kneeling archer if there's a group without a kneeling archer. See, this group's got a kneeling archer. It's my kneeling archer. I don't know if that... It says without a kneeling archer. There isn't another group where he could place a kneeling archer and it would matter, so... I don't think that counts. So a halberd. Will he place a footman? If there is such a place where the difference between the number of surrounding warriors belonging to him and you is greater than the number of empty spaces. So he's guaranteed the points. No. Nowhere. In this weird configuration, he's kind of boxed in everywhere that he's placed stuff. So I don't think he would choose to place anything, so he would get a coin instead. I believe... Okay, next option for me. We've spent all of our coins, so I'd like some more back. So maybe this one. Get us a warrior, get us some coins, activate a weapon. Yeah. Yeah. Let's... What do I want to build, though? So points do matter now. Put your worker down. I do want to build a halberd, but it's only worth 3 points now. There's only a couple left. I've got majority of that group, haven't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1, 2, 3, 4. And even if he ties it, I'm still breaking that tie for now. Swordsman, we've got 3 each. So I kind of want to build a swordsman. I've got no weapons to activate anyway. Because most swordsmen is going to be evaluated in a minute. And I would like to have the 11 points to his 5. So I'm going to go for swordsman. Just get me 5 points. Where would I like it to go? I guess in this column. So it's got 2 musicians scoring it. Or to get majority around the footman down here. Up there. Okay. Can't activate a sword to do anything else with it, so that's that. Get 2 coins. Activate your halberd. Done. Prime Minister's last action this round is going to be 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should skip that. Should go here. So gets to roll a decree. That's 7. He's going to activate that after his actions. Skips to the next available... No, he can go there. He doesn't get a decree. He's got an artisan, hasn't he? So he can go there even though I'm there. This is take the wet clay from the place with the most, which is just a 1. Gets 2 more clay. It's going to do some surprise builds, doesn't he? Look at that money and that clay building up. Gets a sword, but he's got all of his weapons, so nothing happens from that. Okay, finally. I haven't got much money to activate a new master, so I don't want to go there. I could rotate a wheel. Get some clay back. I just want to build a swordsman, don't I? Whatever I do as well. That would get me some clay. I've got loads of clay. Like for next round. So I could just get a coin there and then I'd get a spear activated for next time. Don't particularly want a specialist. Then get your bow activated. So spend 4 clay to do a warrior. I'm going to do a swordsman again, which is 4 points. Expand on this new group. And that's it. Then get 2 clay. Then get my bow. Okay. Then surprise builds. Has he got, is it 6 clay? Yeah, has he got 6 or more clay? 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he discards 5 of it and does a surprise build. And then if he's still got 6 or more, he would do another one. He's not going to get to do a second one, but from this one, he's got all weapons available. Oh, ignore this during surprise build. So it doesn't matter if he's got a weapon available, but he's got all of them available. 1 worth the most points. 5s. One of these. If he's still tied between most, it's whichever's going to be scored first. Well, this one isn't. Bow isn't going to be scored. This one's going to be scored. So he's putting his first spearman down. So can he join this group? Is it a mixed group? No. Contain my warriors, where the difference in warriors, because he can still get in here because this horse extends this group out, where the difference in warriors in your favour is equal or less than the number of rounds remaining. There's 2 rounds remaining, and I've got a 4-person lead to his none, so no. He would start his own group, I think. So he'd start his own group. In round 4, he wants to go in the priority 1 space, which is here. He can't. So go to the highest priority possible. Here, I think. Most musicians. None have got musicians. Adjacent to a footman. Not that would help him. I think he would just go here to break the majority and get the dominance in this row, I think. And then he's got a spear. So it goes to the front of the row, flips, he gets 2 points and 2 coins. So he's not got 6 clay available, so we ignore that now. But he has got 8 or more coins. 6, 8. He might get 2 builds here. So what was his surprise? How much does he spend? He spends 5 of them. He's going to get to do 2, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he's going to do another surprise build after this. So, surprise build. Most points. One of these two. Whichever's going to be scored sooner. He's getting in on spears. He wants to help with his own group, I guess. So we look at all spaces adjacent to the group. This space would join his group up, so I don't know if he wants that. In the priority, he can't narrow it down to 1. Satisfying the remaining scoring tiles, they just care about this type, so that doesn't narrow it down. Highest priority possible. So that would be 1, that would be 2, they would be 3. So either one of them. A musician, there's a musician here. But he wants to extend his lead. Because I think that would have been number 2 last time, so he would have gone there. Whereas this is priority 3. So we just extend this. I suppose that would be a lower number, so he would go there. I'm not really sure. It's confusing. He hasn't got a spear anymore, but the surprise doesn't require him to have a spear. Then, I don't think I gave him his 5 points. He's still got 8 coins, so he spends another 5 to do another surprise build. Both worth 5 points still, but this one's getting scored first. He'll extend his group, I think. Mixed group, no. Yeah, he'll grow his own group. So top priority, I think it would be like this space for next time. Who knows? He hasn't got a spear to do his thing with. So that's it for his surprise builds. So then, for inspectors, over here, I've got 1, 2, 3 to his none. I get 7 points. Over here, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 to my 2. So he gets 7 points. And I get 3. Because I am present. Inspectors, move along. Musicians. For me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to his 1. This musician is 2, 4, 6 versus 3. Got in a little bit on these musicians now. And this musician is 2, 4, 6, 7 to my 4. Okay. That's them. And the musicians, the scoring tile, most swordsmen. I think it's me now, because I built the 2, didn't I? 2, because he wasn't interested in swordsmen because they were worth 1 fewer point. So swordsman is 2, 3, 4. Oh, count them separately, not just total number of swordsmen. 1, 2, 3 of his versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of mine. I thought he might build more of them. So I have majority, so I get 11 to his 5. I mean, it's narrowing. And that's that done. And then turn the wheel. Get your workers back. Clay goes dry apart from 2 of mine. And I get 2 coins. He gets... Oh, well, there's no point rolling for it. There is... Oh no, there's this one. Odd, even. It was even. So he's in that master space. And I think we've done all of the things catching us up to the final round. Let's go. Oh, a 3-hourer. It's going to be the Prime Minister first. So 2 spaces, 1, 2, and has he got 4 clay? Yes, he has. To pop a warrior out. Hi, Anne. It's a big one. Like, Taliesin was like that was about 2 hours, wasn't it? This one. It's the which warrior to pick and where to put them. It's still a bit foggy for me, even at this point. So he's building. We're gonna have to use other players' colours to bases now. Which it does say might happen. I think it says in the FAQ might happen in a 2-player game. So he's doing it normally. He'll prefer something he's got a weapon type for, unless a weapon he hasn't got a type for is worth loads more points. Amongst the possible types, he chooses the one with the most points. It's this one then. A 5-point bowman. 89. So, yeah. Where's he putting it? Is there a group of bowmen anywhere? They were cut off, weren't they? So it's going to be a new bowman. The top priority space would be here. So then the 2 priority spaces would be here or here. Which one would score more from musicians? This space here. So that's where he pops it, I think. And then he has got a bow. So he moves it to the front of the row, spends it for 3 points. Then gets 2 coins, activates its halberd, which it's already activated, so we loop around, he activates his bow. Dangerous. He's going to make a big bow group. Okay, I've got 2 clay, so I could just pop a warrior down. Pop a warrior down. I couldn't pay 5 for a warrior, though, with the next thing. But we could pay 2 to move the wheel around a bit. Yeah, pay 2 to move the wheel. I don't necessarily want a specialist, though. Oh, move this wheel. Move this wheel this way. That costs 2 coins. So, can we build for 2 clay? Yes, 1 clay goes there. I'm building a spearman, thank you very much. Because that's what the scoring is going to be at the end of the round. And can't I just... Yeah, I've never got a sword. I did do it once with the swordsman. I did that and this in the same round of it. I'm going to link the 2 groups of spearmen. He wanted to build them separate. Tough luck. Because welcome to 5 of my spearmen versus 3 of yours. He's not by a musician or anything, unfortunately. But, yeah, we'll link them up. Then, the master, who I've already got my master token there. Take all the clay from 2 places. Loads more dry clay. And then activate my sword. So maybe we will be swording. Then, that's it for my turn. Master. Prime Minister. Not Master. I'm the Master, you'll see. He gets 4 coins. Oh, there's going to be loads of special builds again in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blacksmith. He has got a token, so he activates all of his weapons. And then he activates his weapon again. So at least he doesn't get anything with his last thing. Make sure you pop a work down for him. So we need to go to a space that wet our clay. I mean, wet all of your clay, get 2 points. Get a spear. Doesn't seem like a bad thing. Go for it. Wet all of your clay. Get 2 points. Activate your spear. He's moving 3. 1, 2, 3. And has he got 4 clay? Ooh, he's spent all of his clay for a change. He does a decree. He hasn't done one for ages. 3. He'll be taking care of that after he's done his actions. Make sure you put a worker down. He has got something here. What does he do for this master? So for the master inspector, he gets 2 coins, which I don't, and he moves one of the inspectors up to 2 spaces forward, making the move that creates the biggest swing in scoring. Your loss and his gain. Well, he wouldn't want to move this one forward, because he can only lose points there. I guess he would move this one. Oh, he can loop around, so he could move this one here, and I'm not present, so that's the biggest swing in scoring, isn't it? He would suddenly have majority and I would have nothing. So that's where he would put it, I think. Hopefully I can move it again, because now my sword is active, so maybe I will build a swordsman and get that going. Right. So that was that. And then specialist, he's got all of his weapons available. Will he choose a specialist? So going in reverse order, he never chooses a horse. The halberd, he will choose a footman if he can basically guarantee that he would win it. Like over here, maybe? I mean, he would have 2 more people than me, but there would be 3 empty spaces, so he only places the footman when he's pretty much already guaranteed to win, and he isn't placing... We aren't really leaving spaces around, so I don't think he's ever going to build a footman. The musicians are all out. Will he build a kneeling archer? Is there a group without a kneeling archer? Yeah, the great big spear one. Okay, so he's going to spend 4 coins. Spend his bow. He's got the kneeling archer. Where will he place it? You can choose any. Let's pop him up there, so we have to build this group away from my footman. Okay, so that might end up being a problem. He is 2 behind. I know he's 1... Yeah, he's 2 behind. I've got 5 spearmen to his 3, because there's majority of groups at the very end of the game. So he's still got to put 2 more people down before that's a worry. But he will break the tie if he does manage to do that. So that was his specialist, and that's his turn. Okay, we've got tons of clay now. We want to try and get 3 more warriors out at least, don't we? Only got a couple of coins. So, options. Oh, he's come here with his big fella. So we're not going to be able to get to do this one, because I'm in this space as well. Oh, he's played that well. Okay. I wouldn't mind building a specialist, because I could build a footman actually and do quite a good job, I think. I can't get to that space though, because I could rotate it this way, but I've already gone in this space, so I can't put an artisan there, can I? If I'm already in that space. I could if he was in that space, but I don't think you can go in the same space twice. Oh no, even if it's my craftsman, okay. So maybe we will do that. Maybe that's worth doing. Oh, but then the top action is wet your clay, and I've already done that. And you can't turn the wheel both ways. No, close. Because if I could move the inspector 3 times, that would be quite beneficial, I think. Moving it once or twice, I think both of those rows favour him quite a lot. Just have to try and build 2 things in this row, maybe? Make a new group? Right. Although if you just build one person on there and they're not a group and they won't score any points. So without swinging things around, I could come back in here. Get a load. I don't particularly need a load more dry clay though. I can't afford to pay for a build. Specialist at the end would be kind of nice. Build for 3, get some coins, do a specialist. I think that's what I want. Build for 3, pop one there, get 2 coins. Oh, you haven't built yet. You only said it. Okay, we're going to have to break out. Blue stroke green. So blue is me. I'm going to go for... Am I going for another spearman here? Are we worrying about that group? Swordsman, we could move someone around, but... Oh, we could move the inspector around. Yeah. Are we that fussed about that? Bowman would be nice, but we can't really set them that far away from each other anymore, and that's what you want to do with crossbowmen. We could, like, put them far away here, couldn't we? Oh, and get in on his crossbowman. Let's do bows. Because then they're a group, and maybe it's a group I could take control of. I'm going to put you there. The different colour's going to confuse things. A bowman's worth 5 points. And then I can activate the bowman. You get a point for every space between the bowman and another piece in the same row or column, and you can choose which. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points there. I think that's the thing to do. Obviously not as good as it starts filling up. And if we can move the inspector with something else, with our last couple of actions, you know, I've got 2 to his nothing in this row now. And I've got 1 in here. Maybe we can do something with that. So I did that. Get you 2 coins. Build a specialist. I want, for 2 coins and my halberd, I want a footman down here because I've got 1, 2 things next to it. The most he could ever get is 1 here. So I would get the 8 points for it, right? I think. And he isn't even involved in these, so he wouldn't even get the 2 points for participation at the moment. He's been ignoring me footman, and he's too scared to put him out. Okay. I think that's all of me. It is 3 spaces for the Prime Minister, and it's going to go there. Get 3 coins. Going to get some surprise builds, I think. He has got a thing there, so he'll get 3 clay. And at the bottom, he activates his bow. It's the only thing that wasn't activated. Okay, we've still got 6 clay. I've only got a couple of coins. I don't really want a specialist. Why don't you go here, 4 clay for a build, and I'm going to build Now, I would say crossbowman to take that majority. I think I'm still going to say crossbowman. And hopefully with the last build, we'll do a swordsman. Yeah, because then I can activate the special ability. I haven't got a bow right now. But crossbowman. over here for maybe the last inspector majority. Or he's leaning right back. And that gets me 5 points. I can't activate the bow, so that's it for the build. Get 2 clay back, so we can hopefully do one of the build actions next time. And I've got coins to spin around if all else fails. Activate your halberd. Done. Then 2 for you. You get 4 clay. And you are here. So he spends 5 clay to build. 5 coins to build. Which is good, really. It's taking away the surprise action he would have done anyway. So he's going to get to build, but in a way that he would have done. Where's the warrior bit? So he's doing a Master Administrator. What's he got a weapon for? All of them. The one worth the most points? Okay, not the halberd then. The one that's scored by a scoring tile sooner. He's going to go for the spearman then. And I didn't even think about this. That move has blocked off the spearman as well. He can't even compete for that group. So it's going to have to be an entirely new group. The priority is like, that's priority 1. That would be 2. That would be, I think he would go like up here, maybe? It's a bit weird how they're thinking about the priority for this. So, oh, hang on. So I think he'd go up there. So that's him paying for a build. And then specialist. Is there a group without a kneeling thing? There is. Would he pay for the kneeling thing for his soldier group? Oh, where's that bit? If there's a... No, it needs to contain warriors of both of us. He never chooses to build a horse, so he would just gain a coin. For the specialist, that's his final action. Now for me, I want to do a build. Unless I get coins from somewhere, specialist's no good. I only got a little worker. I could turn the wheel, but it would spend as many coins as I would be earning. Your leftover stuff is worth some points at the end. So it wouldn't hurt to be... kind of saving some stuff. Whatever we do, we build a swordsman and we move the inspector. Because I don't think... Oh, he will get a surprise build because he's got 6 clay there. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. Maybe we just get stuff, get a couple of clay back. It's just the specialist at the bottom. I'm not getting anything for it. Just do here. Make a decision. 3 clay to do a warrior. And it's going to be a swordsman, isn't it? which is worth 4 points. Don't think I want it extending his group. Because I think the points he would gain for it having 2 colours involved would outweigh the majority points, wouldn't it? Yeah, I would get 2 points, but he would gain 2 points. There's no difference, actually. It should be a swordsman alone, I think. And then I'm going to flip over my sword so I can move an inspector up there on a row that I like. Then skip this to gain a clay or a coin. And then flip over my bow. And I think that's that. So surprise build. He hasn't quite got enough coins, but he has got enough clay. So the one with the most points is a bowman. And, oh, he can take majority. Should maybe have thought about that. He can take majority away from me so that neither of us have majority of this group. So I suppose this is worth it. It's the only place where he can extend that group. So he'd go there. The bowman was worth 4 points. He does have a bow, so he flips it for 3 points. That's it for his surprise builds, I think. Then inspector scoring. Over here, he's got 1, 2, 3 things to my 1. So he wins the 7, but I am present, so I still get 3. He's on to 200. This inspector, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to his none. I get 7 and he gets nothing. So 195 to 206 at the moment. Musicians, oh wow, everything's quite full. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to his 1 on here. This musician has got 2, 4, 6 of his, and 2, 3 of mine. And this musician has got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his, and 2, 4 of mine. The scoring tile, most spears, which I think is, it better still be, is it still me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is. So 13 points to me, 6 to him. We're catching up. And then, like, clean up. Is there any reason to do clean up at the end? Oh, you get your coins and stuff still. So, clean up for the Prime Minister. Clay doesn't dry out. It is the last round, so he doesn't get anything else. For me, turn order never changes. Your wet clay goes dry, but I can keep 2 wet still. Get you 2 coins, I suppose, is the only thing that matters in cleanup. If it's the 5th and final round, go to endgame scoring. And I think it's going to tell me... Somewhere it tells me that endgame scoring's pretty much the same, right? He scores points for any leftover coin and clay like you do. The scoring of groups and warriors goes the same, and if you have more points, you have won. Thanks for that. So, for score footman first. Only the number of warriors is counts. A horse with its warrior still counts as only 1 warrior. Yes. So footman, I built 2 footmen. I have 1, 2 warriors. This counts as a warrior. It's my warrior on this horse here. 1, 2 warriors next to this footman. So, person who wins gets 8 points. Person who dominates. If you have presents, you get 2 points, but he got no presents here. Similarly, this footman, I've got 1, 2 warriors next to. He's got none. So that's 16 points to me. And he wasn't even there. Then remove every warrior that is not part of a group. A group consists of 2 or more miniatures of the exact same type, orthogonally adjacent to each other, regardless of ownership. So, you are off on your own. You are on your own. So, oh no, he forms a group because of that kneeling archer. He's on his own. He's on his own. And I think that's it. So... Yep. And then score the groups separately. So each warrior is worth the number of points equal to the number of players involved in that group. Obviously, in a 2-player game, you're either going to be on your own or it's going to be with me. And then there is domination. 5 points if you dominate the group, 2 points for presence in the group. Yeah, the kneeling archer counts. So let's start with this group. Can I remove them from the board once I've counted them? I think so. So this one here, it's got 2 colours in it. So I would get 2 4 points. He'd get 6 points. He's dominating, so he would get 5 points. And I am present, so I would get 2 points. So he's done fine on that one. Then, this one here, he's on his own. 1 point each, and he's dominating. So 5 more, that's 7 points. This archer's group. Oh, that's me. So he got 7 points for his archer's group. I would get 7 points for my lone soldier's group. That I forgot was mine, to be honest. When I was placing the soldier there with a warrior on it. I think I was trying to get majority on something. I should have put it next to it for another point. Doesn't matter. This group of halberd warriors, he's got 2, 3, 4. I've got 2, 3, 5. So I get 10. He gets 8. I'm dominating for 5. And he's present, so he gets 2. We might as well zoom out, haven't we, so you can see the scores as well. The spears, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4. Five to his 3. So I get 10. And he gets 6. I'm dominating. He's present. The swordsman down here is in a group. The kneeling archer makes it a group. So there is 1 warrior present and 1 colour. So it's worth 1 point, but I am dominating that group. So that actually turned out brilliantly. Over here, we are both going to get 4 points for our warriors and 2 points for being present because nobody dominates. There is no kneeling archer to break the ties. So we're going to get 6 points each out of that group. And then I think that's all the groups. Score each kneeling archer. The player whose warrior the kneeling archer is facing receives 2 points. So I get 2 points for this one. I think I've got one here as well. Yep. But then you are facing the Prime Minister. And I think there's another one. Yeah, he's facing the Prime Minister. So a wash on that one. And then count your number of leftover clay, wet or dry, and coin. Every 2 is worth a point. So 1, 2, 3, 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3 points for me. So unbelievably, that's ended up, 277 to 300. I mean, I didn't think there was a chance of that happening in the end. Maybe somewhere along an extremely kind of complex. Well, the only complex bit is deciding where you put warriors. I could be getting that wrong, but hey, put it in the comments, because it's a lot to digest, especially when you're doing a different game every single day for a couple of weeks. But hopefully that'll calm down a little bit very soon. And we'll be doing other things next week. That is it. Live for this week. What a way to end it, though. Great big feature-length playthrough with, loads of good decisions to make. And, hey, a win's never a bad thing, is it? Thanks for your help as well. Keeping it straight and, reminding me what I'm forgetting, rules-wise and strategy-wise, because I forget stuff right in front of me. Right, that is it for this week's live things. On Sunday, there will be a little video for a thing called Token Sesame, which is downstairs at the moment, where I'm playing games. It's a lovely token tray system. Enjoy that. You can see it on Patreon now if you would like to. There'll be more playthroughs and things next week. There'll be some live stuff. There'll be the playthrough vote if you're on Patreon, patreon.com/slickerdrips if you'd like to help me keep making playthroughs. The vote is a bit late this week because, hey, I've been doing this month, because Essen videos have been overriding everything. So next week we're going to have the vote. We're going to have some Carnegie, I think. There's going to be the start of some spooky games as well. It's going to be Eldritch Horrors going to make a return, which I'm excited about. I edited it last night. I think it's fun. The playthrough, the game itself, I love. And yeah, I think we'll do the vote a little bit differently. I'm going to be like, rather than deciding the games beforehand, I might go through some of the horror games on BGG while I'm live, and we can decide which the options are going to be. Because I think I've got some kind of spooky themed games, but there are some cool ones out there that I'd like your input on what goes in the vote, and maybe I'll pick up and hastily learn some kind of spooky games in time for Halloween. That's all next week though. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope that it's at least giving you an idea of what Terracotta Army is like solo and in general. Like, I'm doing the same as you would do in a multiplayer game. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you for some more games on Tuesday and stuff. For now, though, bye everyone. See ya. Bye. Thanks for watching.